Fuga, Melodies of Steel. That's a review by Clemps. I have no idea what this game is. Probably another hidden RPG gem. At least that's what I'm assuming. But yeah, we'll look at this. Also, please consider liking and subscribing. I appreciate it. This game is a newer one, but connected to older set of games. Okay. I'm curious what this is about. I got no idea. Melodies of Steel. Interesting. Nope, no idea. Never heard of it. Here we go.
So I had the realization lately that I have this thing called a YouTube channel, and I can make videos on super niche things that I believe aren't getting much attention. I know, crazy. Bonkers bananas, some might say. Algorithm be damned.
Well, to be fair, the algorithm nowadays prefers long-form content, especially since the amount of people who watch stuff on TV. The amount of people that watch YouTube on TV has increased significantly. So actually having long-form content might actually help quite a bit. I think it's turn-based, probably. I don't know.
And let me tell you, I don't think there's a game that's come out in 2021 that deserves this type of video more than CyberConnect
Furries. I knew it.
2's Fuga Melodies of Steel. A title which I'm going to recommend to you all right from the get-go. I'm not kidding, go down to your local Tesco Express and pick up a copy. It's really, really good. And just to be extra clear, this video is not a sponsored thing. I'm not being paid under the table for this. It's just the first time in a fair number of years that I've seen a game come out that I know people would get a serious kick out of, but no one is talking about it.
We know exactly who gets a kick out of this. We know exactly who likes this. Interesting. This is like a literally tank. So it is furries using tanks. That's interesting.
Or even acknowledging its existence. And this is a channel first, but I even managed to get an interview with the game's director, Johan Gerritol, who has very kindly given me a lot of insight into the game's behind the scenes, and even allowed me to use basically any asset I needed, which is incredibly generous.
Don't tell me we can have romance in this one. Don't tell me there's romance. Stop.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. So before I begin, I wanted to acknowledge the fact that my upload rate has slowed down in 2021. I've noticed this as well, and I'm trying everything I can to change that. 2021 brought some health issues my way that has made stuff a little complicated, but I'm focusing on recovering both mentally and physically so my schedule can naturally fix itself. In the meantime, thank you so much for your patience. I really hope you like whatever stuff I do release, even if it takes a little longer to come out. And if you really do miss this fucking face, you can find me streaming regularly on Twitch. Name subject to change, but go follow me there if you want to vibe out in chat. It'll be great to see you. I think everything should be just fine.
Are you sure about that?
Now, for those of you who might not...
Classic Among Us moment. Okay, so we got furry people, whatever you're gonna call it. Interesting.
Be aware, Fuga Melodies of Steel is actually part of a pre-established collection of games known as the Little Tail Bronx series, and this is without a doubt CyberConnect 2's passion project. The very first game they ever developed was Tail Concerto, and over the years, in between dot hack games...
So we got, the dot hack games. Yeah, I remember those. I've never played those, though. Like, I know they exist, I know of their existence, but I've never played any of them.
And motherfucking Azura's Wrath, they would expand the Bronx series slowly but surely with varying degrees of success. But no matter what the sales were like, end of the day they still had faith in this universe, and eventually in 2021, we would get a prequel title. That title being Fuga, a game set in fantasy France, otherwise known as Gasco.
Ew. The French. Love dot hack. Never played them. Oh, we're in France? Baguette?
Which is littered with two types of people. The Kaininu, a humanoid dog race, and the Felineko, who tear up your staircase despite there being a perfectly good cat tree that I built for you with 12 functioning scratching.
That is, I literally have this cat tree. I literally have the exact same cat tree. I do. The difference is, ours is pink. I am terrified.
Posts. Your lust for chaos is unprecedented, madam, but my God, I love ya. Now, according to Yoan, inspirations for Fuga are largely inspired by the works of Hayao Miyazaki, happiest man on the planet. Such titles like Castle in the
Happiest man on the planet. According to some of his comments, I sometimes question if he's actually that happy about the state of anime.
Sky, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, Howl's Moving Castle, and finally, Sherlock Hound. This is where I'm sure you can imagine the anthropomorphic
Sherlock Hound. Yeah, I see what they did. I see where this is coming from. Yeah, I get it. Okay.
Oh my goodness, I can't say it fast. This is where I'm sure you can imagine the anthropomorphic God damn it! This is where I'm sure you can imagine the anthropomorphic inspiration sprang from. Yes! Or more commonly referred to as the kimono style in Japan. Over here, it's definitely parodied a lot more due to internet culture, and Yoan even admitted to me that this particular style might not be super appealing to a lot of websites. That, combined with the fact that Neo The World Ends With You and the Ace Attorney Chronicles released in the same window of time, it's no massive surprise that Fuga underperformed as it did, which, safe to say, was disappointing to the development crew. I'd say if the style is putting you off, try your best to go outside of your comfort zone and give it a shot. Ratchet and Clank,
It really just is cat and dog people just duking it out with tanks. Whatever they were smoking, but interesting.
Sly Cooper, those are good games, right? A good game is a good game, regardless if there's a furry little bugger contained within. Now, I'm going to describe the tutorial segment of the game first, and everything included within it was explained in the trailer. But if you want to go in completely blind, I'll drop a spoiler warning here. Click the timecode, you know the drill, 3, 2, 1. The region that these Kaininu and Felaneko inhabit is currently under siege by a fascist regime known as the Burman Empire, who are ransacking any village they come across with no apparent rhyme or reason. The children of one village, known as Petit Mona, decide to follow a mysterious voice over a radio after their loved ones are captured and taken away. This voice would eventually lead them to a forbidden cave that they were instructed never to enter. Desperate times call for desperate measures, however, and upon entering, they stumble across a tank. This tank is unlike any other.
I can tell this is like any other tank. That's just a weapon of mass destruction. Bro brought the good stuff at this point. The Germans. The German. I just get it now. Is that what they were going for here? Is that what they were going for here? Well, no, I just need to see some German shepherds, and then I know. I think that's what they were going for here. The Burman Empire, the German
tank the children have ever seen, easily towering over all of the tallest buildings in the village. They cautiously enter it, and upon its activation, they learn from the voice on the radio that this is the Taranis, an ancient weapon that can and will rescue their loved ones so long as they work together. This immediately goes tits up when they're cornered by Colonel Pretzel, who laments the fact.
Isn't that just Otto von Bismarck? It just literally is! Pretzel? Yeah, it is the Now that's P, maybe the B from Britain, maybe? No, that doesn't make sense. The German, Burman, the name is Pretzel. Like, it's so, the fucking hat, it is so obvious. It is so obvious. It is, it's like right there, just, it's so obvious.
He has to attack children, but this is war, and difficult choices need to be made. The Colonel makes swift work of the Taranis due to the children's inexperience, and this is where each child feels a pull, a compulsion to go into the lower deck of the Taranis. The game lets you pick a child, and I decided to go for Molt.
That's crazy work. We will see more signs. Check their uniforms and tools. This is the furry fever tweet. This is like what if what one was furries? Also, diabolical out of context. You'll pick a child. That's crazy work.
Leader of the gang seemed like the most obvious pick. Your child of choice follows this otherworldly pull and finds themselves at a strange pod. They enter and suddenly the tank comes alive as a massive cannon is readied and fired, completely obliterating Colonel Pretzel and his battalion. During the celebration, the children ask a very important question. Where is Molt? At which point the voice over the radio chimes in like, right, so, a bit awkward. You know that Molt kid? Little furry fella? Oh god, how can I say this? Okay, have you ever watched that movie, All Dogs Go to Heaven? Yeah, okay.
Diabolical. Did they just like... Did they... Nah, he didn't die, did he? You didn't kill off this guy.
Good. That makes my job a little easier. He wandered into the super room, you see, and the big beam you all saw was his one-way ticket to paradise. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. And need I remind you that we just won? Huh? Don't hold back the confetti and backflips for my sake. I'm kind of busy doing my own thing up here. Oh.
Ocean Marine. Really? I know the type of man you are. You can use one-shot cannon at the cost of a child. Yes! Yes! Peak! That's crazy! Wait, and if you overuse it, they just fucking died. I watched All Dogs Go to Heaven, me and Coco is crazy. That context is crazy. Sacrifice a child to unleash a destructive attack.
Peace out, kids. As this crippling realization dawns on the rest of the kids that their friend was sacrificed to charge what the voice over the radio calls the soul cannon, they're all hit with the depression debuff and can't bring themselves to fight. This will lead to a game over and a restart where things might be different this time around. Will you accept defeat and get a game over, or will you sacrifice one of the children's lives to continue progressing?
Will it blend? That is the question.
So, there you
No! No! You have so many children. No! Can you play this game before you get a game over? Do I even have to sacrifice any at all?
have it. That is the basic premise of Fuga Melodies of Steel. Yeah, I see you playing this game, you cheeky little bastard. And there are a ton of concepts that play out in this game that genuinely affected me. The needless hatred of persecuting someone due to their race, the horrors of war, and the crimes that are committed to what they believe is the greater good. People being indoctrinated and twisted to believe that the path of bodies and
Wait, she can get it. The dog woman in red, she can get it. She can get it. Call me a furry, I don't care.
blood that they walk is true and pure. And whilst these concepts alone were enough to capture my attention, and thankfully there are moments where you can breathe and not be bogged down in a swimming pool of tears, I'm very happy to announce that the gameplay was enough to lock my attention firmly in place. Right, so gameplay is split into two segments. The first is the tank itself, which progresses forward on a track which can split depending on your choices. These go from safe, normal, and dangerous. You crush crates like the mighty boot of a giantess and get a variety of items inside, ranging from scrap, meat, items that you can use in combat, and of course, instant healing. When you reach a Berman sigil, you're thrust into battle where each child is handed heavy artillery and an unquenchable thirst for blood. You have a bar which shows when each character, including enemies, will take a turn, and you'll also notice that enemies have these little color-coded icons next to their health. This means a specific child will delay an enemy's attack on the ATB. Cannons take care of red, grenade launchers take care of yellow, and machine guns take care of blue.
Oh, so essentially we have weapon types that do special damage. Specific damage to specific enemies. Interesting. The opening you have to, the others are optional. Okay, so you have to I'm gonna sacrifice the one I hate the most, so the youngest one gets sacrificed, in other words.
Because there are so many children in the roster, you need to have some as backup and some manning the artillery. Ones in the back row serve as minor buffs and support. For example, having Sheena in the back row will increase your SP by a tiny amount with each hit, and having Hana as a support will regenerate your health with each hit. You can also swap out characters with a 3-turn cooldown, so it's not like you're stuck with a set party on your journey, which allows for some fun experimentation. Finally, once certain parameters are
The one with the red hair right now, that one gets sacrificed. Easy.
and depending on who is paired with who, you can unleash a link attack, a powerful joint technique which can be your saving grace in many situations. There's also hero mode, which is effectively a limit break. For example, Boron over here can break enemy shields completely and delay them no matter what number and colour the delay symbol has. Wapper's normal attacks can hit twice in a row, and all of Kyle's attacks turn into critical hits. As I'm sure you can guess, each weapon tends to specialise in certain things. Cannons are chunky damage dealers but have lower accuracy to compensate. Grenade launchers are good at placing status effects on enemies and having decent overall damage. Finally, machine gun wielders have pinpoint accuracy with the weakest overall damage, but are perfect for dealing with aerial enemies. You'll find them indispensable when an
Interesting. Just a different game with girls that use tanks.
enemy rolls around with armor, which is indicated here, as they have techniques which can chip away at it and leave them vulnerable to a swift cannon blow. But please don't forget that you have actual petit bébé that are controlling a fuck-off huge tank. Because if there's anything I know about babies, is they aren't necessarily the happiest when you drop them off in the front lines. There are status ailments that only affect the children, such as fear, which lowers your accuracy, injury, which means if they're injured again, they'll get knocked out, a knockout will mean you can't use them again until a break, and finally there's depression, which means they won't be able to use any skills. And of course, let's not forget the ever-looming soul
The soul cannon, the one-shot move that sacrifices a child.
cannon, which will power up when the Tyrannus reaches low health and will tempt you to use it whenever it's online.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Do you sacrifice someone to the meat
Yeah, low health, and the game is like, do you want to sacrifice a child? That's crazy. The game's just like, would you like to sacrifice a kiddo?
grinder, or do you do what I did and reset the game like a coward? So as you can
Yes, reset the game like a coward. None of my children get sacrificed. I guess the first one has to.
see, there's a lot more going on in Fuga's gameplay that meets the eye, and from my experience, it flows very nicely and never gets irritating. Eventually you'll reach a level of synergy with the cast and will swap characters in and out with barely a second thought, all whilst being pushed forward by the game's stellar OST by Chikayo Fukuda. It reminded me a lot of Hitoshi Sakamoto's work from Final Fantasy Tactics fame, whilst injecting enough originality to feel unique to Fuga, especially for songs which incorporate choir or solo singers. Depending on which language you choose, either French due to the game's fantasy setting or Japanese, the choir's language will change, which was a seriously nice touch.
Yeah, I wouldn't use the French. Sorry. The only game that has good French lyrics as songs is Expedition 33. That's it.
And the boss music worked perfectly for the situation in hand. You aren't supposed to be fired up and ready for an epic fight. You're meant to feel the impact of these innocent kids needing to take someone's life in order to protect their loved ones. In fact, it was this song that inspired me to play this game in the first place.
Okay, not bad. But then again, this isn't particularly too uncommon. Button Kaiser's Origins, if you get the true final ending, which, fun fact, we didn't even get, the more you know, there's also a calm song playing, the lyrics are in Italian, which is interesting. Yeah, that's actually really interesting.
But thankfully, there are slight moments of reprieve which are found in the intermissions, which can not only help you upgrade the Tyrannus, but also get to know the characters a little better. Speaking of, I haven't introduced the cast yet. There's a lot of them, so let's keep this snappy. Malt Marzipan and his sister May Marzipan, Hana Fondant, Boron Brioche, Sox Million, Kyle Bava, ooh, that's a word.
Bavarwa.
Oh. Hack and Chick Mont Blanc, Sheena Falafel, Gin Macchiato, Whopper Charlotte, and Brit Strudel. Now please excuse me as I have a sudden intimate craving for some fucking confectionery. So overall we have good, small, good.
Here comes the boy.
Melvin.
Here comes the boy. Yeah, the fat kid won't be sacrificed. It just makes sense.
Brat, Gremlins, Small, Spanners.
Dude, what's all that stuff you're grabbing? Tools! Tools! Duct tape, zip ties, and gloves! I have to have my tools!
Here comes the boy.
That one gets sacrificed 100%. No, not the marzipan.
Hello, boy!
And Dougie. Controlling one of these characters, you can explore the Tyrannus and accomplish various tasks so long as you have enough AP. Firstly, you can talk to each member and raise your affinity with them. A higher affinity means stronger link attacks and can also unlock these nice cutscenes which explore the characters' personalities a little deeper. This is welcome since the cast is so large, it's kinda difficult to focus on every single character during the main story and give them meaningful screen time. Talking to kids can also cure their depression, boy if that only worked. You can plant crops on the
Why are you wording? Why are you wording it like this? Talking to kids can lower the depression. Stop.
miniature farm and use them to cook meals, which give all of the characters buffs until the next intermission. Sleeping in the dormitory can cure kids of their injuries. Doing the laundry will boost two characters' affinity by a massive amount. The workshop can upgrade weapons, health, and SP by using materials found on the battlefield. And you can also go fishing for scrap if you feel you're a tiny bit under what the weapon needs. Now, something I neglected to mention is the fact that a lot of these tasks have a success percentage, which gets lower the higher level you get. This doesn't change the fact that failing a 95% success rate twice in a goddamn row makes me want to pack up my shit and live a technology-free life in the country. Look here, CyberConnect 2, if that is your real name. I love this game, but there's something real fishy about me failing 75% and 85% as much as I have been. The conspiracy goes all the way up the corporate ladder. Also, thank you for letting me interview the director of this game.
I have experienced this, though. I have experienced this. I've experienced something worse. I failed. I have failed. Not just one 98%, but two 98%. They're in a different game. There could be worse. If you dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball, I guess.
Please don't blacklist me. You can also stop off into neighboring towns where you can collect items from civilians and can even trade weaker items for stronger variations and vice versa. There's even this cute comic book that is completely optional to read, but it's still a nice inclusion. If anything, it would be nice to have an option to see what items the Tyrannus needs for an upgrade, because my memory and attention span is not big enough to remember, and I legitimately don't know if I'm trading stuff I need and receiving stuff I want. And finally are the expeditions, which allow you to control a character using this thing called a game controller, hands them a toy gun, which still works as a lethal force weapon.
Bro, where are these children? Obliterated the bad! Wait, you mean toy gun? Guys, does this look like a toy gun to you? Does it?
Want. And finally are the expeditions, which allow you to control a character using this thing called a game controller, hands them a toy gun, which still works as a lethal force.
Does this look like a toy gun to you? Bro.
Weapon, and allows them to delve into ruins, which give you even more materials to upgrade each facility within the Tyrannus. These segments were fine and added another layer to the game, but they weren't the most complex things in the world. Just be careful of traps and monsters and everything should be just fine.
I started blasting. Bang! Bang!
Now this next segment will contain spoilers.
Just started blasting. Yeah, these kids are violent. Anyways, when does the next kid get essentially thrown into a tank wood chipper?
For the overall lore of Fuga, and I kind of need to bring it up in order to talk about New Game Plus. So, here's a spoiler warning if you want to experience the world building by yourself. Click this timecode to skip ahead. Has your mouse run out of battery? Do you need a few more seconds? Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. The world of Fuga is extremely engaging and fun to figure out. Turns out that thousands of years ago, humans existed and wiped out their own species using bioweapons known as Titano Machina. Fast forward to the future and...
Interesting. So instead of like other primates picking up the... what's the word? Picking up the mantle, it was the surviving doggos and cats. Are you telling me that? Lay down the son, lay down the toy gun, little bro. Do they all wear shot collars? Well, only the dogs. The cat girls are fine.
Dogs and cats have evolved into the world's next humanoid-like species, and humanity is little more than a legend. Through New Game Plus, you can actually unlock pieces of lore that expand this world's universe and find out how humanity collectively tripped up and fatally fell down the stairs. That is interesting, and I love how it gives you the option to play the game again and find this stuff out for yourself. I do have a slight problem with this, however, and it really boils down to the difficulty. It's far too easy on your second run. See, the game restarts with the exact same power level that you did at the ending of your first run, and enemies aren't scaled to match your power. So yes, whilst the lore is worth it, I think if a new game in the Little Tail Bronx...
Yeah, but that kind of makes sense, right? That like almost all games that have New Game Plus do this, where like they just like throw you back at the start, but you're like broken as shit, and you're allowed to just like burn through everything quite easily, which I personally believe if you are trying to 100% the game is probably easier. I guess if you don't want that, the only way to do this properly is to give you the option, right? You have like an option menu of being able to choose what you want or not.
Series comes out, giving New Game Plus a little more oomph will more than likely hold my attention a lot more. Other than that though, I'm happy that the mode exists in the first place. So, Fuga. I think you should all play Fuga. It's very clear that CyberConnect 2 made a risk making this, and so far, despite being one of the best reviewed games in the company's history, it's still not reaching as many people as they would have hoped. In my interview, I asked Johan to give me a little insight into self-publishing, and here is what he had to say. Self-publishing was a lot harder for the team than they initially thought. QA, testing, localization, promotion, communication, talks with the many manufacturers, Sony, Nintendo, etc., putting the game on every store, handling DLC, etc. Everything the publisher usually does, we had to do it ourselves. But it was also very interesting as we learn a lot about the industry and stuff we usually don't care about. And finally, I asked for some parting words. I hope your audience will give Fuga a chance and support us, as it really is a passion project for us, and I hope we'll be able to make many more in the future. Wink. As a lover of JRPG...
Wink. Fuga has 3 games now. Okay. Not really Batman games. Have a no death after beating New Game Plus. Yeah, but like that's like more so an exception. Most games, especially older games, have you just literally be the most broken mess possible.
RPGs, I really hope to see more games set in this world's universe, since, I admit, I've fallen in love with a lot of the characters and races, and I really hope they continue this style of gameplay in the future. Maybe with multiple character models instead of a singular tank with a more open method of exploration. Not that the singular tank is bad, I loved it a lot, but it'd definitely be nice to see something different from this team, where they can evolve and nurture the feedback that was given and make something even more incredible. Before I move on to the final segment, I'd first like to thank some patrons. At this point, I'm a broken record, but it bears repeating. I appreciate you guys so much, and seeing so many of you still enjoying my content after all this time makes me very happy. Some of those patrons I'd like to thank are Ben Palmby, Celia, Claire Grant, and Adam Matthewson. And finally, I'm very happy to show you all, with permission from the game's director, a couple of light-hearted anime shorts known as Fuga Comedies of Steel. A very nice introduction to some of the characters, and are all available for free over on CyberConnect 2's YouTube channel. If you like these...
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Huh. Again, like, this game looks cute, right? But would I ever play this? Then again, I don't even know where it's available, actually. Interesting, though.
Then go check out the rest of them over there. Thank you again for watching, and please enjoy.
僕の名はソックス。年齢は10歳。僕は犬人なのです。そして僕には夢があるのです。それは僕の考えた最強のマシンを。
Funny, because he sits probably in the most powerful tank ever built, right? Funny. It's on all 3 platforms. Okay, cool. Not bad.
開発することなのです。
武器なんかより非通士たちの毛を簡単に刈れる機械を作ってよ。
洗い物がすぐ乾く機械があると助かるんだけど。マルトや。
Those two definitely are getting married in the future, 100%. Does that even work? Are dogs and cats in this game even compatible in this world?
ハンナ、友人たちにはあまり理解が得られないのですが、やれやれ。
That's like 4 minutes of these cute comics. What is going on?
先日手に入れた素材がとても万能だったのですよ。
なるほどな。
なあなあ、何の話してんの？
Bro, this one gets so fired into the child shredder. It's crazy. I don't like this design at all. I don't like this design at all. This one's getting 100% into the dog squasher. I don't care. Why you speak Japanese? Are we still in Burmany? The Burman Empire. No. These are just like skits who are on the channel of the company that made this game.
ソックスってば。おーい。
いつものメカトークさ。お前らにとっちゃつまんねえ話だよ。
なんだ、じゃあいいや。
ソックス、もしかしてお前、女子が苦手なのか？
So you have trouble talking to girls. Socks. My boy's name is Socks.
なのです。女子がいると口がギュッと閉じて動かなくなってしまうのです。
でもハンナとは平気で話せているよな。
あれソックス、今日も
My homie is just like me. He like me for real, for real. He's just a brother from another mother. It's crazy. He like me for real, for real. I understand. Women are scary.
メカ作り？
ハンナこそザ女子って感じじゃねえか。あれはどうなんだ？
ハンナは村にいた時から一緒でしたし、女子と思ったことはないのですよ。ハンナかな？
鼻につく言い方だな。一発殴ってもいいか。
The way you just said that is really annoying. Can I smack you? Eek. Knuckles reincarnated as a dog? Kinda, yeah, kinda.
ジンはメカに強いだけではなく筋力もある。僕もジンのように筋力をつけることができたら、設計と組み立ての効率が良くなるのではないでしょうか。心臓に負担のかかることはやめるに限るのですよ。
二人の名前は
Chicken hack. They seem can't. Socks is poker. He's like me for real, for real. These two could end up in the Soul Stealer, in the Obliterator.
クとハック。とっても元気な
犬人の女の子と男の子です。俺がハックで
Okay, twin brother and twin, like twins. They're twins. Brother and sister.
私がチックだよ。二人はいたずらが大好き。いた
Bro, he evil. He's putting like some spicy stuff into like, is that dog food?
ずらを仕掛けるハックに偵察役のチック。いっしししし。やばいよハック。ねえハック。
おいチックにハック。そこで何しているんだ？
二人はいたずら名コンビです。
お前たち飯抜きにするぞ。
やめようといつも言ってるだろ。ごめんなさい。本当に反省してんだな。
Why am I even watching this? How many more are there? Okay, there's like 2 more minutes. Not quite 2 more minutes of this. Interesting. And then the rest is just outro. Interesting.
いただきます。
He's fucking dying. The red one! Yeah, you're going into the child chipper. That's it.
なあなあハック知ってる？しゃっくりが100回出ると死んじゃうらしい。
If you hiccup 100 times, you'll die. Guys, do not do that.
チックどうしよう。90回目だ。ほら。
He's so evil. The red one is so evil too. He's counting the hiccups. That's 90, only 10 more. He's so evil.
あと10回だよ。ハック。こーら、ワッパったら脅かさないの。ハックのそのしゃっくりはね、食べ過ぎや早食いで胃を刺激したことで起きた横隔膜の痙攣なの。だから死んだりなんかしないわ。難しい言葉がたくさんでよくわかんなかったけど、よくわかったよ。
Bro is like dies from hiccup. Promise Neverland season 1 is so peak, one of the greatest. No, season 2 doesn't exist. It was at least bad as One Punch Man season 3. It does not exist. It has never existed.
安心しろチック。今俺がハンナ姉ちゃんみたいに手当てしてあげるからな。ごめんよハンナ。
He tried! He tried! Little bro tried! The little brother tried. I see no issue. Or like, maybe he's little, maybe he's the same age. Like, maybe he's older, right? Because like, one twin obviously always comes first. So who's the... Probably he's older, I'm assuming.
姉ちゃんみたいにできなくて。いいの。ハックが手当てしてくれたからもう痛みが引いたみたい。ありがとうハック。チック。
And that's that. That was Fuga. Interesting. Yeah. I got no idea. At first I noticed it is German. The Burman Empire. Like it is so obvious in the helmet, and then some of the helmets also look like World War One helmets. Interesting. Interesting idea though. Interesting concept. Basically having dogs and cats evolve into like the next humanoid creatures. That's an interesting concept. And then obviously the tank that can use the souls of children. The obliterator, the child crusher, the child liquefier, right? The right one's going first, by the way. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe.